Good day, I'm Iris Ruth Pastor, and I'm here with Nancy Wall for a little small talk. And Nancy is a Tampa businesswoman who is the CEO of Tampa Bay Matchmakers. So welcome, Nancy.
Thanks, Iris.
What inspired you to become a matchmaker?
I love helping people. I love helping people connect. So the opportunity to do that here in the Tampa area is so rewarding.
You know, there's a lot of Jewish history on matchmaking, and I think when everybody thinks about matchmaking, they relate to Fiddler on the Roof. Is that what inspired you to become a matchmaker?
No, it was more just what I had been doing. And yes, I hear that all the time. I walk by, people saying matchmaker, matchmaker to me, which is nice. But really, it was a very, very important job in the past. And it is now also to help people find that lasting relationship.
You know the term bashert, I'm sure you've
Yes.
heard that term, which kind of means that you're looking for the significant other that will complement you perfectly and that you will complement perfectly. Do you believe that we have like a soulmate or one bashert person?
I believe we do. I don't necessarily believe that there's only one person, but I do believe that there is someone who enriches our life and we can enrich that person's life and together have a beautiful relationship.
So do you think that most of the people that come across your desks, are they believing in that concept? Are they looking for a soulmate, or are they willing to settle for, with, like the book said, you know, someone that's just good enough? What's your take on that?
No, people don't want to settle. People have worked hard to achieve the things that they have in their life, and they really want to find a person to share that with and to give honor and respect to the other person and share whatever he or she has accomplished.
But I have to ask you this. It seems to me, and this is only a personal observation, that people today are so much pickier than they used to be, that they kind of have their list, and if the person doesn't fit that list, they don't want to go out with them. Or the next thing would be, if they go out with them and the person reveals a few things that maybe aren't in the positive column and could be a little negative, like let's say a divorce or a bankruptcy or something like that, they immediately shy away. So what kind of advice can you give for people when they come across these obstacles?
People do have their list, and they actually should have a list. Everyone should really take time to sit down and understand what's important to them and why those things are important to them. And so I really believe, and that's what I tell all my clients, is to sit down first and really understand what are your, we call them non-negotiables, what are your preferences, and really take a good hard look at that list as you're writing it down and review it, because some things that we think are really non-negotiables might in fact just be our preferences.
So there's a difference between that.
Yes, when we come up with our list, you really want to focus on the things that you absolutely cannot live with or without. Smoking, religion, if you want to have children, if you don't want to have children, pets. There are certain things that are non-negotiable to people. And if they really understand what is an absolute for them versus, you know, it would be nice to have this, but that's not necessary. People kind of lump those two things together, the non-negotiables with the preferences, and that's why the lists sometimes become very, very long.
No, that's a very good point. What do you think most people are looking for as far as character qualities in a mate? What do you think are the most frequently named characteristics that people want when they're looking for a soulmate?
A mensch.
They
want a nice, caring, good person who's going to give them respect, and they're going to give that person the same. So they really want someone who's down to earth, genuine, and authentic when it comes to those kinds of qualities.
How would you deal with something where there was an inequality? Let's say there was a great difference in income levels between the two people. How do you deal with something like that if you want the relationship to go forward?
It depends on each person's perspective of, for the example that you gave, for income. What I tell people is really incomes can be very disparate, very different. And that's okay if each person can come to the relationship whole, and together that couple decides how they're going to live their life. So it doesn't matter if one person's income is very, very much lower versus a much higher income. Together that couple would determine how they're going to live their life. Though in many, many cases, people are used to a certain lifestyle and they want to continue that lifestyle. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. but really the focus needs to be on the person, not on the money that's made.
And what's your feeling about prenups? Do you think they're a necessary thing, or do you think they're something that causes dissension?
You know what? I think that, again, it depends on the couple and their communication skills. I think prenuptials can be very, very effective, especially when there are children involved and other things, second marriages, situation where prenuptials would be warranted. People look at it like insurance, and sometimes it does turn them off, and they say, well, then we're setting ourselves up for divorce if we have to go through a prenuptial situation. But that's not necessarily the case. If you're confident in who you are, you've worked hard for your assets, the other person has worked hard for his or her assets as well, and together you decide what is shared among the two of you or between the two of you, and then if there are children involved, what types of things should go to those children.
I was wondering if you could share your personal story of how you met your husband.
Sure. So I was divorced in 2001, and I did everything to try to find that special someone, my bashert, from internet dating to hoping friends would fix me up to just kind of being out there, and met a lot of very, very nice people, but not the special one. And as they always say, when you're not looking, that's when it happens. Well, I was not looking. I finally said, when I want Thai food, I know the friends that I can call to have Thai food. And if I want to go out to the Performing Arts Center and see a show, I know which of my friends like shows, men and women. And I have a very fulfilling, wonderful life. And I had promised a girlfriend that I would take her to a Jewish singles event, a Hanukkah party, and had made that commitment, and she was holding me to it because I really didn't want to go. And I ended up driving her, kind of pretending that I was her chauffeur, said that I'll drive you, I'll sit in the back, you go flit around, do what you need to do.
You deal with it, right?
When you're done, I'm ready to go home. So I ended up sitting in the back with a gentleman, and I figured he knew why I was there. Nice looking guy, great smile. And throughout the evening, people would come over and say hello to me, and I would introduce them to my new friend who was sitting next to me, and they would ask him questions. And through that process, I learned about him, what he did, his family situation, that kind of thing. And we've been inseparable ever since, and we ended up getting married last year.
But I have a question. Did he have a wedding band on?
Yes. What's interesting is that he did have a wedding band. He was married for quite a number of years, and as he tells me, that was like a part of his finger. He never even thought about it. So he did have a wedding band on his finger at the time, and I thought he was married, and I was just, sitting next to him as a nice new friend. And P.S., it turns out that he was separated in the process of getting divorced and didn't even think about the wedding band going to a singles event.
I guess most people will think about that now. That's certainly, and that could be a deterrent to people coming
absolutely.
up and
I was not certainly
themselves.
interested in him at all based on the fact that he had a wedding band on. I was hoping he'd introduce
Right.
me maybe to a nice friend.
You don't want a bashert that's already married.
No, that
right?
wouldn't
Or
post.
presently married. And thank you for being with us today. And Nancy Wall is the owner of Tampa Bay Matchmakers. I'm Iris Ruth Pastor, and this has been a production of Let My People Grow, which is an outreach and engagement initiative.